I'm Gaylah Sublette, Vice President of Research and Sponsored Programs. And my co-presenter today is Julie. And Julie, I'll have you introduce yourself.
I'm Julie Bauer Cook, and I've spent most of my career in ATSU sponsored programs where I work as a director and a quality assurance administrator.
Julie's being modest. She's like a level 1 excellent grant writer at the national level. So Julie and team do a lot of great work, as does the whole SP team. So thank you, Julie, for co-presenting today. Appreciate it. Our goal today is to share the work already completed in our strategic planning process and to start a dialogue about, where to go from here. So thank you, Dr. Roy, for your kind invitation to speak today. We really appreciate it. And we're going to be speaking about the preliminary draft of the 2021 to 2028 strategic plan to support research. Hey. So who are we? The Division of Research Grants and Scholarly Innovations is a service and resource division. We are made up of an administrative core team and 3 departments: the A.T. Still Research Institute, research support, and sponsored programs, i.e. the grants office. And again, we're here to support all things research and scholarly. Next. The overall purpose of our division is to help promote excellence in research and scholarly innovation. Our division works really hard to keep all of ATSU both research ready and grant ready, and of course, compliant and competitive. So let's talk a little bit about strategic planning to support research. The preliminary draft of our new plan was released previously via Google Doc to all who registered. So hopefully you've been able to have access to that, and so that you may read through and comment on the full working draft at your convenience. So in this session today, we are going to hit the highlights and ask for your thoughts and input. We would like this to be very interactive, so feel free to submit your questions and comments in the chat box, and we will be calling on Dr. Roy to monitor and read those out at various intervals. Additional open dialogue will be possible at the end via a Q&A discussion until our time is up. It should be noted that the strategic plan to support research is indeed specific to the Division of Research Grants and Scholarly Innovations, but it does include broader strokes to improve the overall research culture at ATSU. Therefore, we would like your input on both sides of this plan, given that we are here to serve the ATSU research and scholarly community.
So, if you've had the opportunity to read through the working draft of the RGSI Division Strategic Plan, you've probably noted that the proposed strategies form a dual approach. The first being strategic innovations, kind of bold new directions. And the second consisting of steps to promote continuous quality improvement that are much more operational in nature, that are focused on optimizing systems and services. Both are represented herein to show the interconnectedness of the strategies. However, the final version will be more streamlined to feature the strategic innovations. That said, this is our first strategic plan with our new division composition and structure. So the operational aspects are really part of our development curve as a division. So while we propose, as Gaylah said, division-specific goals and objectives, the RGSI plan, as it stands, is fully aligned to the recently released university's overarching strategic plan. ATSU's 5 core themes for 2021 to 2028 will only be furthered and achieved via research and scholarly innovation. And as a quick reminder, those themes are innovative education, mission-focused scholarship, engaged diverse community, beneficial partnerships, and agile resource management.
Research at ATSU reflects our broad academic and faculty areas of interest. We define research to include basic science, clinical science, translational research, the science of teaching and learning, community health research, and service and educational innovations. So for many years, ATSU has used the Bauer definition, which includes discovery, integration, engagement involving application, and the science of teaching and learning.
So while research grants and scholarly innovations is an administrative unit for many different types of functions and activities, our work is united by our shared core values of service, impact, diversity and inclusion, integrity, ethical conduct, teamwork, collaboration, and synergy. As you review the working draft of the RGSI strategic plan, you'll notice that these core values are spiralized throughout across goals, objectives, and strategies.
So before we jump into the specifics, actually, we must first thank all of our early contributors to the strategic planning process, including my team in the Division of Research Grants and Scholarly Innovations, and especially again to Julie Bauer Cook, who has been the driving who's force behind this whole process for our division. So thank you, Julie. Also, thanks to Dr. Degenhardt, Michelle Malik, Jack Morris, and teams, as well as the ATSO Research Institute and its centers and their directors, including Ann Spolarich, Joan Davis, Eric Snyder, and Joy Lewis, along with Dr. Degenhardt. And a huge shout out of thanks goes to our regulatory chairs, Bob Theobald, Kurt Bay, Vineet Singh, and David Middlemas. And thanks to all members of the Interdisciplinary Research Committee for their early input as well. And now it's your turn.
So if I could sing, I think there's a song, Long and Winding Road, but I can't, so I won't. So this is sort of an overview of our process so far. 2021 has been a planning year for our strategic planning. Research grants and scholarly innovations process has been underway for several months, and it first began with an internal analysis, including an environmental scan, a SWOT, where we looked at strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Using learnings from this self-study phase, the process progressed to drafting and then input gathering from first within the division and those represented within this plan. The Research Nexus presentation today is yet another input session before we transition to more widespread vetting. So our goal is that the plan will be responsively revised for finalization in fall or winter of this year. And as stated within the document, the strategic plan will be reviewed annually and recalibrated and reconfigured as needed. The aim is to have a living, breathing, dynamic plan that remains current with our emerging needs. So from this point forward in the presentation, we'll take a deeper dive into research grants, scholarly innovations, proposed goals that focus on 4 areas: environment and culture, reinventing the AT Still Research Institute, RGSI service delivery and our service departments, and then finally collaboration. So goal 1 is really a division level goal that focuses attention and resources on strengthening research infrastructure and nurturing ATSU's overall research culture. This goal will advance ATSU's strategic plan themes of mission-focused scholarship, engaged diverse community, beneficial partnerships, and agile resource management with specific emphasis on institutional community well-being and work-life balance.
The first goal is more global in nature and aims to strengthen the research infrastructure and culture at ATSU. The objectives include promoting research awareness, improving research communication and governance, building engagement and the role of the Interdisciplinary Research Committee, strengthening ATSU's regulatory committees and offering them support, and studying important topics to advance research and scholarly innovations, such things as protected time. Okay, as detailed in our Google Doc plan that's out and that has been shared previously and highlighted here, key strategies under Goal 1 are to enhance research awareness and branding, improve research content on the ATSU external facing web page and our internal page, align research services with accreditation standards, which is always important, complete research policy updates, that's an ongoing thing, establish a research advisory group to study and offer recommendations into challenging topics, such as the one I mentioned before, protected time for research. That's a good example. And strengthen and build succession plans for the IRC, the Interdisciplinary Research Committee, and our regulatory committees. And you're going to hear a lot today about succession planning. So as stated, this first goal is all about strengthening the research culture. So let's pause here and check in with Dr. Roy to see if there are any questions or comments up to this date or time in the chat box. Dr. Roy, anything there?
There's one from Ms. Patricia Lodato. Can you please explain what specifically the Interdisciplinary Research Committee and the Regulatory Committee chairs do?
Sure. Okay, the Interdisciplinary Research Committee is a very broad committee that includes representative, mostly faculty from all of the schools. And this committee is really best known for the fact that it reviews and helps give input to all of the internal grant applications. So this is where the peer review process begins, is with the Interdisciplinary Research Committee. That committee is also, it tries to get together to promote interdisciplinary research, just like its name, and really share and develop collaborations across program lines and school lines. And so it's kind of a research club, if you will, that looks at internal grants and tries to promote interdisciplinary research. So that's a little bit about the Interdisciplinary Research Committee. Now, the regulatory committees include both IRBs, on both campuses, the Mesa IRB and the Kirksville IRB. It also includes the Hazardous Waste Materials Committee and the Animal Care Committee here at KCOM. So these committees help keep all of our research in line with federal regulations. And so the IRBs review IRB applications, the Hazardous Materials Committee reviews those type of applications and has policies about that kind of thing. And the same thing with animal care. And so these committees are necessary, absolutely required for us to even conduct research at ATSU. I hope that answers that question.
And you'll note if you submit an external grant, ATSU's internal grants approval form requires review and signature by the regulatory committee chairs as part of our compliance process.
Good point, Julie. Thank you. Okay, so next, as detailed in the plan that we sent out and here, I wanted to cover some key strategies under Goal 1. And they are to enhance research awareness and branding. Again, oh, I think I already said that part. Any other questions then? I'm sorry. I think we're, okay,
Yeah,
go ahead.
none.
Okay.
Next slide. Thank you.
Okay, so exiting Goal 1 for the time being and entering Goal 2. We appreciate your questions. Keep jotting those down. We'll have an opportunity after the discussion of each goal and as well as at the end of the presentation if there's something you'd like to ask or to add. So Goal 2, it seeks to enhance the growth and the impact of the AT Still Research Institute and its centers. This RGSI goal looks to advance ATSU strategic plan themes of mission-focused scholarship and beneficial partnerships.
Okay, the second goal is specific to enhancing the AT Still Research Institute and its centers, and that's one of the departments within the Division of Research. The intent here is to do a deep dive with lots of reflection and strengthen the Institute's leadership, the infrastructure, the membership, the functions, and its activities. Objectives also include expanding the Interdisciplinary Biomed Research Symposium from a regional to a national offering, enhancing training and professional development in the core research center areas, and again, conducting succession planning and increasing meaningful research output. Goal 2 strategies are to improve the structure and function of the ATSRI, build succession plans, grow team-based science clusters around research center themes, advance the Biomed Research Symposium, and even this Research Nexus series in any way we can, look into endowment funding for the research centers, and ultimately increase the number of external grants and publications coming from the ATSRI and its centers. So in summary, the second goal is all about strengthening the Institute and its centers. Again, we'll pause here to see if there are any questions on this goal. Dr. Roy.
I don't see any.
Okay. Okay, moving on, Julie.
Okay, so goal 3 seeks to enhance the impact, capacity, competitive advantage, and value added by our division service departments, which are research support and sponsored programs. The goal and its accompanying objectives and strategies and related performance metrics are all about services delivered, quality of services delivered, breadth of services delivered under those 2 departments. Goal 3 is linked to all 5 themes of ATSU's strategic plan, including innovative education, mission-focused scholarship, engaged diverse community, beneficial partnerships, and agile resource management.
All right, again, the third goal is specific to enhancing our division's 2 major service departments. That's research support and sponsored programs. The objectives here are to assess and strengthen our current teams and services and identify any gaps to be filled. The intent is to help prepare and keep all of ATSU grant ready and research ready. Next. The more innovative key strategies under Goal 3 include supporting the launch of some new research pilot studies using national data sets that are on the horizon, such as All of Us, which is a health disparities database, and UDS Mapper, which is a database of underserved and CHC population data, and the like, which will align with ATSU's new strategic plan. SB also plans to explore the costs and benefits of a commercial grants management system to replace less efficient homegrown systems. These 2 departments aim to develop personalized roadmaps to research and roadmaps to grant leadership to assist more early career faculty to reach their professional goals. In summary, this third goal is all about strengthening the 2 service departments of research and support and sponsored programs to the benefit of all users. Again, we'll take another pause here. Dr. Roy, anything in the chat box?
None.
Okay. All right.
So home stretch here. We'll move on to our final goal, and this is very, very exciting. This is about all about partnerships and collaboration. Goal 4 seeks to enhance ATSU's portfolio of research and scholarly activity by promoting synergistic engagement internally and externally. Goal 4 is tied to ATSU's strategic plan themes of innovative education, mission-focused scholarship, and beneficial partnerships.
So as Julie said, the 4th goal is specific to enhancing ATSU's portfolio of research by teaming up with strategic internal and external partners. ATSU may not be a research-intensive university, although research is important, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't be collaborating and partnering with other leaders to grow our portfolio of research opportunities. So Goal 4's objectives propose using internal grants to promote research teams and synergy. And we might do that, for example, through funding preferences and priorities for collaboration. The second objective focuses on ATSU being poised to attract more external research and grant partnerships. And pretty much everything that we're talking about in this research plan impacts that. Key strategies under Goal 4 are to enhance our internal grant mechanisms to promote synergy. ATSU could also look to partnerships for advancing such things as intellectual property, patents, and commercialization strategies, and the like. So to reiterate, this fourth goal is all about strengthening key partnerships and collaborations. Again, we'll go to Dr. Roy at this moment and see if there have been any other comments on this goal or any prior goal.
Yes, there is one on this goal from Ms. Laura Lepke. Would you please highlight how you would like the library or the librarians to be a beneficial internal partner in the research process?
That's a great question. And it's something that we recognize as being very critical to what we do in our division and what every faculty member and student does in their academic and research lives. So I think that we have operated more in silos in the past, but through this new strategic plan, we're trying to break down those walls and really interconnect those services to the benefit of our service audience. And so I just think it's going to end up being a lot more communication, a lot more collaboration. And again, I think the library plays a critical role, and I think everybody else knows that as well. So we so appreciate what the library offers and brings. Anything, Julie, that you could add to that comment?
Yes, well, I think one great way, and I'm excited that we have something on the calendar, is the library's presentation and engagement with sponsored programs. Coming up in November, we're having a full team training. I think that other departments may wish to consider something along those lines as well. I know just from the external grants angle, over the evolution of my career, what funders are seeking is capacity to further best practices and promising strategies. And so that requires an extensive knowledge of the field. And so I think that the library's role in that, in helping us meet that competitive standard is important.
Thank you so much. Good questions. Anything else, Dr. Roy?
Yes, there are two more questions. Can you give examples? This is from Michelle Malik. Malik, I don't know how to say her last name, so sorry.
You got it.
Can you, thanks. Can you give examples of external partners who might be approached for synergistic research that advances the university mission?
Yeah, thank you, Michelle, for that question. I think, what we're looking at is increasing the partnerships with major universities that have intense research programs. And again, partnering with those kind of individuals. We can partner, like in the osteopathic world, with our sister schools and do more in that way. And the same thing with the other schools and programs, dental schools across the nation and the like. I think the business, there are some business partnerships that we need to look to. Let's see what else. Julie, can you think of other partnerships? The partnerships that we expand through grant funding, our sub-awards, subcontractors. It all depends on the topic, but we typically reach out to leaders in the field and have them be a part of our projects and doing more of that. Anything else, Julie, that you can think of?
I think we have already some examples of great partnerships where we have researchers who are delivering work on an aim within a larger research grant awarded to a level 1 institution. So I think, looking at those kinds of partnerships also with larger national organizations, of which we have some successful examples already, but furthering our work with NAC, National Association of Community Health Centers, and other like nationally scaled projects where we can help the university and our faculty to carve out deliverables for the advancement of the university's research platform, for their research platform. And I think a lot of it is networking, in terms of our faculty are very well connected, through their own training, through their prior work, and doing what we can to raise awareness about the university's capacity and brand, for supporting research and scholarly innovation and helping to position our researchers or teams of researchers or innovative educators as partners for a piece of larger projects. I think is all, not necessarily a laundry list at this point, but I think developing a laundry list of potential partners is a fabulous early step in the whole process.
And thanks, Julie. That's really important. And you just gave me another thought too that might be really good to bring up here. And that would be checking into the NIH reporter system, where you can type in an area of interest of your research. And what it will do is give you articles written on that, and then other grants that have been funded on that. And you may want to look at what's out there, who's doing what, and then, call on people. It's so interesting, I think, in the field of research, that even the busiest of people are so interested in furthering their research that they often mentor and collaborate. And so they typically appreciate that kind of interest. So that would be something that we would suggest for an individual, is take a look at the NIH reporter and do some searching in there and find out who's the leader in your fields and who's being funded for what that's most interesting to you, and contact those people and develop a relationship if you can.
And I will say, without speaking to specific review scores or summary statements, on the whole, we find that peer reviewers to environments that are conducive to conducting the project with strong facilities, resources, and environment, whether that's service and education, research, or other types of applications. So I think that's something in our favor as we look to seek out partners that we bring a good set of resources to the table.
Indeed. Thank you, Julie. And I turned off my video because I was having some breakup in my internet. And I see Deb might have some more questions, and Joan Davis's hand is up. So Deb, go ahead, and then we'll get to Joan's question.
Okay. So another question from Patricia. How is ATSU going to promote collaborations specifically? Is there any plan to incorporate external reviewers to evaluate internal grant applications?
Well, that's another good thought, and it's one that we do currently do that. So oftentimes with our interdisciplinary research committee, we bring in external scientists to help review and guide in certain areas. So that is something that we are already accomplishing. So that's just one more area. Thank you for bringing that up. Anything to add there, Julie?
I think another way to learn about the process is, pursuing status as a reviewer, whether that's through, Health Resources Services Administration routinely seeks reviewers for all of their Title VII programs. I think that's, when we're thinking about things like external review, that's a tremendous learning pathway, and something that could be considered, as well as for NIH peer review or others, that it all fits together kind of nicely, and that would be a metric we're looking at in terms of the readiness pathways that Gaylah referenced earlier. It would be great to see the numbers of ATSU faculty who serve as reviewers for external competitions.
Indeed, Julie, that's a good point. And I just want to tag on one more thing about the internal grant reviews. Not only do we invite external reviewers to come in and collaborate with our IRC members, We also look to ad hoc reviewers within our own institution that may not serve on the IRC. So you don't have to serve on the IRC to be an internal grant reviewer. And I think Julie hit upon the point that if you really want to become good at grants and even at research, that's one of the most important steps, is become a reviewer, either internally or externally. When you start to see research coming in and how people present their research, it's a major learning experience to see it from that side. And I think it makes you better on the submission side when you see, some of those great grants and you've been able to review both the good and the bad and the ugly sometimes. You can take away a lot of key lessons. Okay, next.
So 2 more questions from TLC, one from Dr. Connolly. This question is for OSP and the library. In regards to the library playing an instrumental role in increasing the research productivity at ATSU, with the emphasis on the science of teaching and learning and educational innovation, is there any aims to bolster the access to scientific resources and publications in those areas?
I think that's definitely something we want to consider, but do we want to hear from the library any answer there or response?
Sure, I'd be happy to answer. Yes, and you are very fortunate at ATSU to have the resources that you do in the library. From what I've seen in other universities, the resources that we have here are exceptional. Of course, having those resources aren't a benefit unless everyone knows about them. I believe it's my role as the medical librarian on the Missouri campus to promote education and instruction of those resources. We are going to be rolling out instructional sessions in the evenings very soon. We're waiting for the technology to do that. Those sessions will be provided in person and synchronously. And also with the assistance of the faculty in promoting those sessions. Currently, we are sending out weekly library research tips. However, without the guidance of the librarian on how to use those resources, it's a little more difficult for new learners. So I ask for the assistance of this program and the faculty in promoting interaction with the students and your peers with the library, because we are here to help guide you in learning about all of these resources. I hope that answered your question.
If I may add a suggestion to the library as well, one helpful tip, and I'm sure you're considering this, is recording brief demos for the key research resources that we have on the library. And we have those uploaded or hosted somewhere that people can have access to. So one, if people are not able to attend, they can watch the demo. 2, if people watch the demo and they forgot or they didn't take a good note, they can quickly go and have access to those resources.
Absolutely great suggestion. And we do have quite a few of those on the library website, and I'm happy to meet with you individually and go over that with you. Thank
you very much.
And this is Quincy, really quick to thank you for taking the time to elaborate on the library, what they're currently doing. As you might already know, we tend to engage in educational research and quite many different capacities here at the university. One of the limitations we constantly run into is the limit to be able to access educational research journals, high quality educational research journals. For instance, if you did a split review on collaborative learning theory or team-based learning or even flipped classroom, you're going to probably hit a wall where you're not going to be able to identify the seminal studies in that area. So what my question was is there any effort to improve access? As you mentioned, exceptional resources to medical scientific evidence. What's limited currently is educational research. And as Dr. Gaylah Sublette had mentioned, the focus on educational innovation, science of teaching and learning, that's what we tend to, with the educational research, run into limitations. Anybody willing to throw resources at improving the access to the journal subscriptions, the packages of high quality journals, educational research specific.
Absolutely. And I'm happy to set up a meeting with you and the university library director to address that issue. I'll send you an email and an invite.
Yeah, thank you, Quincy. That's a really important point. And, you know, just to remind everyone, if it's something that's going to cost a lot of money and it's a capital thing, the capital request deadline is coming up in early October. So if you have funds now or can find them, that's great. If you need funds moving forward and in next fiscal year, that capital planning process is coming up. So this is a great time to talk about what we need and don't have and how to pay for it. So thank you. Next question, Deb.
Okay, so this is from Ms. Williams. Can you go into more detail about this strategy? What does this look like? Develop a roadmap for research readiness program for early career researchers, for example, research orientation, basic training, internal pilot funding, publications, extramural funding, outcomes dissemination or publications, and service on internal external review panels.
Good question. Is Debbie on today? Debbie Clay by any chance? So what we mean, oh, go ahead, Jillian.
Well, I was going to say is that, again, this being the planning year, what we're early thoughts there are having some one-on-one coaching, developing individual roadmaps, strategies, milestones, sort of a plan, accountability partnership, sort of a touch tone identifying mentoring needs, and sort of that shepherding through the whole process with the outcomes of external grants and publications, of course, being more long-term, but perhaps getting ideas, discussions early on in time to prepare applications for internal grants that would yield preliminary data that would then, ladder folks up for the next step in extramural application and funding, and hopefully, award and publication. Same thing in terms of the HRSA grants, that same idea, identifying interests, capacity, succession planning, and looking down the road in the future for folks who are interested in developing the capacity and skill set to lead those larger curricular development and assessment. I initially began as more of a smaller subset or smaller cohort that sort of evolves over time.
Yeah, and I think, Julie, you said the important point there. It's one-on-one kind of teaming up, faculty members interested in, really progressing in their research or progressing to become a grant leader. We do a little bit of this already. We do a lot of this, in fact, already, but it's not as professional and put together as we would like. So we want to improve upon that. We work one-on-one with people now, but if we had a roadmap and milestones and we all kept on track, we think that's a way that we could better help our faculty get to where they want to go. And it is our joy and pleasure to help you get there. So we're just really trying to make that more cohesive. So I think that's what we
so, and to mesh with the university promotion standards, so that there's really a sort of a touchstone or reference point of the sequence that folks can go, and the supports along the way. I mean, whether that's sponsored programs, research support, the centers with ATSRI, the library, I mean, TLC, the myriad of supports is with the roadmap also building in all of the synergy points. Sometimes we find that folks may not be aware of some of the best resources of all within the university that may help them and get traction quicker. So.
Right, shining a light and adding to what we've been doing in the past to really give one-on-one service. So that's what we mean. I see Joan Davis's hand up. Why don't we go ahead and let Joan ask her question?
Thank you, Gaylah. I just wanted to say thank you so much, Gaylah and Julie, for a great presentation. We really appreciate it. We know a lot of work went into this, and to all the other stakeholders who have been and are going to be a part of the strategic plan. So I don't have so much of a question as more of a comment that as researchers, we kind of get bogged down in our own areas that are extremely important. or in our own division. And I would just really encourage all of us and this strategic plan to lead us to have an intentional activity to connect. AT still has a very specific vision and focus and who we are. And to use this as a stepping stone and use this division to move forward a clear path to truly connect dental with medical, medical with PA, even though we're in different locations and we have a great deal of things we have to do. If we can just connect with each other, we can get so much more done. And I've been here a little under 4 years, and great people to work with, but we get meshed in the minutia. and so I'm just encouraging everybody to really consider intentionally connecting and learning who each other are so we can build on each other's strengths. So that's my little soapbox, because I think there's so much to offer within our group, within our institution, that we haven't even begun to tap.
You are exactly right, Dr. Davis. I think we're starting to get at that in this plan, but I don't know if we've articulated it as well as you just did. And so as we look at strategies, what we can do with the working draft is really think about intentional activities to connect researcher to researcher across program and school lines, and really start that collaboration that we've been talking about kind of throughout this whole thing, but I don't think we said it as well as you did. So thank you for your input. And you'll see some of those words in what we do. So I appreciate your comment. Thank you. Dr. Roy.
Yes, there's another one from Ms. Hudman. Is ATSG looking to back away from smaller external grants in the future?
I don't think we're looking to back away per se. I think that small grants sometimes can lead to big grants. Small grants can lead to incredible partnerships. So we have nothing against small grants. I don't know if we're talking 5,000, 10,000, the amount or the intensity. I do think that, some of the larger grants that bring more people together will focus heavily on that, as we always do. But again, Julie, did you want to add anything to that answer? From the grants perspective.
I think, I would say the short answer to that is no. We would not be trying to avoid or steer away from small grants. I think there's always an ROI factor. If there's a $500 award for $50,000 worth of work and administrative burden, then that may not be a direction we want to go. But it has been very evident over the years that some smaller grant awards can accomplish huge things that spur great activity afterward, or that make a difference in and of the single award. And so I think that a good institutional portfolio combines grants of all sizes, as long as it makes sense in terms of the amount of funding, that it's not too costly to implement, again, for a very, very, very small amount of funds for a very, very large amount of work. So if there will always remain in the queue, and we continue to keep our eyes open for small and large opportunities.
Yeah, Julie, the return on investment, the ROI is really important. And I'm glad that you brought that up. Again, we don't have anything against small grants, but your example was exactly right. If you do a $5,000 project that's going to cost $50,000 in kind, well, we really need to think about that one, and vet it. It's not that we make the decision of go or no go, but anytime we look at a grant and we work with a researcher, we think about those things and we bring those questions up. So that was a good point. Okay, anything else? Dr. Roy?
Nothing else that has been, that relates to the discussion There's one question about resources, but that could be answered. That should be answered in a different research nexus we have in the pipeline.
Okay. So any other questions from the group? Any other thoughts? Do you think we're going in the right direction with this plan, or are we missing anything that we should be thinking about?
I have a question, Gaylah.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of research is encouraged or would be the best fit? My background is in secondary database research, and I have not found any opportunity to exercise my expertise till date. Is there any scope for my kind of research in the new plan going forward?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. And if you're interested in any of the big data sets that I mentioned or any others out there, I think secondary data analysis is a really important field. Again, we can look into the fields of, discipline specific kind of things. I guess just overall, the comment would be we need to make sure that anything that we do, all of us, is that it's a match to mission. And within our mission, we have look at all of the schools and all of the programs and all of these areas. And we can take a look at research from any direction, and secondary data analysis, I think, is a big area for growth for us. So happy to know that you're interested in that field. And we'll probably be asking you more questions just because we had this discussion. So so the answer is yes, that's an important area of research for us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, kind of last call for any other questions. And maybe if you can show us a reaction, a thumbs up or a thumbs down in the emoji reactions area. Are we going in the right direction? Again, let us know. Okay, I see some thumbs up. I hope I don't see any middle fingers. No, that's good. Wouldn't want to see that. Okay, so I think this kind of brings us to the close of our discussion for today. Again, your thoughts have been really important to us. There's still time to take a look at the document. And Julie, do you want to share?
Sure. So if you feel more comfortable submitting written comments or suggestions, or if you see some necessary edits or something that's missing, we suggest that you follow the link in the email invitation from Dr. Roy, or at the bottom of the slide, to go to the Google Doc and leave your thoughts there. We will keep that file open for another week, so you have some time to mull things over. At that point, we'll pull it back from the Google Drive and responsively revise it, tune it up, clean it up a little bit further, and then re-release it for final comment. Just a reminder, we are midway through our process with the goal of finalizing the plan by fall, early winter. So there is still time, especially if you want to compare what you've read with what was discussed today. That may give you some additional things to consider. So anyway, I would just like to say thank you. Thank you for your input, for your great questions, and for your time.